All right, welcome in. Good morning, Chicago Bears fans. My name is Harrison Graham, and you are watching Bears Now. Listen, there's a lot of topics I want to talk about, and we're going to hit on them on Bears Now Live this afternoon, so be sure to subscribe and join us for that. 4 o'clock Central this afternoon, daily videos. You guys know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. And there's a lot of good info out there. Brad Biggs had a report this morning, etc., and we're going to get all to that. But I think I would be doing you guys a disservice, myself a disservice, Bears fans a disservice, whoever watches this a disservice, if we didn't call out what we witnessed yesterday and really something that needs to be called out, period, when it comes to this football team after losing 7 straight losses. We can blame the coaches. We can blame the ownership. We can blame Ryan Poles. I'm going to have a video on live today talking about maybe Ryan Poles isn't the right guy. But these players need to check themselves immediately. What did we hear all week? Think about what transpired since the end of the Detroit game until now. Jalen Johnson goes nuclear in the locker room on Matt Eberflus. I'm tired of hearing you're saying let's stay together, message, yada, yada, yada. He gets fired. It was clear players wanted him fired. I didn't disagree. I still don't disagree. He had to go. He should not have been retained for this year. But regardless of that, you go from that to, oh, there's a fresh energy. We got Thomas Brown. We're going to play hard for Thomas. We believe in him. And then you go out there in the first half against San Francisco, who, yes, good team, well coached, but this year has not played up to their typical standard, had just been blown out by Buffalo and Green Bay the 2 prior weeks. A Green Bay team that you actually should have beat, and you just completely roll over from snap 1. Actually, probably snap 3, because on the second snap of the game, Gervon Dexter blew up a play, got you a chance on 3rd down to get a stop. They convert, rest is history. The 49ers blow you out. You're down 24-0 at the half. You give up 319 yards. You only have 4 yards of total offense. You're getting your quarterback sacked. He's taking too many sacks. You wanted the coach gone. He's gone. You wanted Shane Waldron gone. He got fired weeks ago. At some point, the players have to step up and say, you know what? This organization might be a shit show, but we're not doing a good enough job. Not even close to a good enough job. I was talking about this during the watch party yesterday. How many players on this team have played better this year than they did last year? That number is very small. Jalen Johnson, I love the guy. He still had a good year. He has not played as well this year. DJ Moore has not played as well this year. Tyreek Stevenson, he shouldn't even start, and his effort is a joke. There's a 4th and 1 in that game, and he doesn't even try to go light up the running back. He just sits back and lets the running back run into him. That was an embarrassment. He has not recovered since the Hail Mary. It's just like, who's gotten better? I would say a couple of players. Gervon Dexter's improved this year. I think Darnell Wright has slightly improved at right tackle. He was solid as a rookie. He's still solid. I think he's getting better. I had someone tweet at me, Kyler Gordon, probably true. I thought he was pretty bad yesterday, but I think he's gotten a little bit better. That's kind of it. Most players have gotten worse. I would say Braxton Jones is about the same. I went a whole tweet rant on him. He's a serviceable starting left tackle in the NFL. You got him in the 5th round. Hey, that was a good pick. But he gets bull rushed a lot. How many times did he get pushed into Caleb's lap yesterday? It was at least 2. He is what he is. And, maybe part of this is a Poles issue, which we're going to talk about. A lot of this, the things he wanted to do and things he said about building this roster have just not happened. But the players, it's never their fault. And I'm pro player, especially with this organization, because from the top down, it is a mess. But you know what? At some point, someone in that locker room, as I'm losing my voice because I'm so frustrated here, has to stand up in front of the room like Jalen did when it came to the coach, but to the players themselves and be like, hey, this is on us too. We are not doing a good enough job. The standard sucks. DJ Moore, I saw like a 2 or 3 minute clip after the game where he's talking to the media in the locker room, and he's like, yeah, we're just not getting off to faster starts. At the end of the clip, He said, yeah, our defense brings it every week, but I think they got today. And not once, excuse me, did he mention, yeah, I dropped a critical pass in the first half that would have given us a first down, and then on the next play, it's 3rd and 10, Caleb gets sacked. Maybe we would have gotten some rhythm there. I've got to be better. Like, how hard is it to say for a guy who just signed a deal worth $27 million per year, he could not have more security on this roster? Like, hey, I have not had my best year. I've dropped too many passes. I've been lackadaisical in some route running. I've got to be a better player. I was paid to be a better player. I wear a C on my chest. This is not a good enough standard. And you just got none of that. No one is doing that. Like, some people might say, well, shouldn't the quarterback do that? Ideally, yes. He's a rookie. Like, if he oversteps his bounds, especially considering he's been up and down this year, Caleb Williams, that may not go over well in the locker room. But somebody has got to say enough is enough. Stop blaming the coach. Stop blaming the scheme. Stop blaming the play calling. We've already acknowledged the coaching's been bad. Like that, we know that. But that doesn't mean the effort has to stink. The effort since the Washington game has been very hit and miss. At times it's there. Second half yesterday, after you got hit in the mouth in the first half, they came out, had some juice, played a pretty good third quarter. It's way too late, though. It's a 60-minute game. Sometimes you just get beat, and that was probably part of what happened yesterday. You get outgained by 315 yards and a half, your effort's not good enough. This is the NFL. The Carolina Panthers guys are playing good teams close. The Eagles down to the wire yesterday. The Chiefs a couple of weeks ago had a chance to beat them. Like, Carolina would beat this team right now. Think about that. The raw talent between the two rosters, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe this talent isn't that good, and I do think we've overrated it. And again, we're going to talk Ryan Poles on a future video, but when you compare Chicago and Carolina, it is not that close, even if the Bears roster is extremely overrated, which I think clearly it is. Carolina is not close to having a playoff caliber roster, and they're playing better than you right now. I would say significantly better than you. The Bears can't play with the Eagles. The Bears can't play with the Chiefs. Carolina can. Carolina has for about a month now. Like, they're improving. They're still far away, but the Bears feel far away. And I know they've been close in some games recently. They played all three divisional opponents tough. That's cool. This is the NFL. You have to play with high intensity every single snap, or you're going to get your ass kicked. Caleb said it after the game yesterday. He said, look, there's no other way to put it. We got our ass kicked. Like, at least he said that. But are you going to do something about it? Or are you just going to run out the string these final 4 games? You wanted Eberflus gone. I agreed. I still agree. He had to go. But you put up arguably your worst performance of the season. Most teams get an interim head coach boost, even if it's a fake boost, at least for a week. It went the other way. It got worse. Like, I actually feel bad for Thomas Brown. I mean, you've asked this guy to go from pass game coordinator to offensive coordinator to head coach, and look, it's an opportunity for him. I don't feel that bad. He's making a lot of money, but it's like your players don't hold their end of the bargain there. Like, that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. So I got a lot more to say. We're going to get to it here in a second, but do want to tell you guys a little bit more here about our sponsor, Game Time, where you can get last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. These Bears tickets are going to keep plummeting with how bad they've been, so get your tickets with Game Time right now. Use the feature Game Time Picks, which is going to help you kind of filter out through the thousands of tickets available for a football game, a basketball game, comedy show, concert, and they'll kind of show you price points in the venue, and you can figure out, okay, I can afford those tickets, or these are too steep, etc. And then when you lock in on some tickets you want, you'll be able to see views from the seats like, oh, okay, that's a good vantage point. Yeah, let's lock those in. And then you purchase your tickets and you're good to go. And the deal we have for you guys is you can get $20 off your first purchase only when you create an account today with Game Time. So check the link in the comments and description of this video. Go to your app store, search Game Time, create an account. Use code CHATSPORTS, all one word, $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply there. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. What time is it? It's game time. All right, a couple more thoughts here. What happens now? You got 4 more games. It'd be one thing if yesterday was like the second to last game and you're like, all right, you just got to get through one more game. Who cares? You got to play your entire division one more time. Lions, Vikings next week, Monday Night Football, prime time, whole country watching. Lions again, Packers again, and then the Seahawks at home, who are a playoff team right now. 4 playoff teams left. So are you just going to roll over this final month? You've lost 7 in a row. 11 straight losses is very much on the table to finish 4-13. Like, this is a bad situation, man. And I think it comes to a bigger discussion like what type of head coach you want. I've been on the Ben Johnson train. I'm starting to shift there. Like, does that feel too risky? Do you need to just go all in on a Mike Vrabel to just clean up this culture? And that's what's so frustrating, too. It's like all we heard for 2 years is how great the culture is. The culture sucks. There's no accountability from players or coaches. I mean, Thomas Brown has shown some, but he's been in charge for 10 seconds. Players, very, very rarely do we hear, I've got to do a better job. I mean, DJ Moore, come on, dude. Yeah, I dropped the key pass early, and the game unraveled after that. That can't happen. That's all you have to say, man. Like, no one actually thinks the entire game is on you, but it would be nice if somebody with a voice in that locker room who's making a lot of money would fucking say something like that. Like, you have no problem, Jalen Johnson, going nuclear on the coach, but very rarely do we hear, yeah, I'm not playing good enough this year. Like, Jalen's been a solid player this year. He's not been what he was last year. I saw Deebo Samuel cook him on a crossing route yesterday. Deebo Samuel is one of the worst route runners and separators at this point in his career. He's a get the ball in space and go get yards after the catch guy. He is not a guy who's a route running technician. Beat Jalen Johnson on a route yesterday. I don't know. I look at this team. This team is broken. There's no leadership from the players, and that's the thing too. It's like you think about the mid 2000s Bears. Like, they had alphas, and look, you can't be someone you're not. DJ's not a rah-rah guy. He doesn't have to be, but when he talks, he can have a little more accountability. But I do think this locker room needs some rah-rah guys. Like, think about this. I had this thought the other day. The last 2 years, who have been the guys, and the Bears tweeted out every week, that are doing like the hype up huddle before the game? Last year, it was DeMarcus Walker, who I would say is a role player. Has a role on this team, rotation defensive lineman. He's your rah-rah guy. Kevin Byard this year. Natural leader, but he's past his prime, hasn't played that well recently. First year on the team, he's your rah-rah guy. Like, you need somebody that's in his prime, one of your best players, that can grab stranglehold of this locker room and say, look at me, I'm going to lead you to the promised land. Hopefully that's Caleb down the road. I don't think it has to be the quarterback. He's a rookie right now. That's a tough ask. You would like for it to be a Jalen Johnson, a Cole Kmet, someone who's been here 4 or 5 years, makes a lot of money, one of the captains on this team. But you don't have that. You just don't have it. And we know you don't have much coaching leadership. I think Thomas Brown has those qualities, but let's be honest, unless something changes drastically, he's not going to be the head coach. Which means you're probably going to have to find that in your head coach. And I think the whole leader of men thing is overrated and overvalued, but you may not have a choice. You may have to go all in on a Mike Vrabel type. He's done the job before. He's a culture setter. It makes me a little nervous having to choose coordinators from there because he's a CEO, but what choice do you have? Like, if you don't think Ben Johnson can command the locker room, you can't hire him. You just can't do it. Maybe he can. Maybe they'll vet that out and they'll feel comfortable with that. But if he can't, or if you're not sold that he can, I don't think you can hire that guy. I think you have to hire a guy that will put people in their fucking place. And this team just doesn't have that. No one's, ripping them up on a week-to-week basis. And there's a healthy way to do that. I'm not saying you go Bobby Knight in 1984 and you throw chairs at players when they don't do what you say. But there's got to be an accountability here, and there's just none. Flus didn't have it. Players don't have it. Does upper management have it? I don't know. Do we trust Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles to get this figured out? I don't see how you could. How could you trust where this is right now and where it's going? It's as bad as it gets, man. So frustrating. I I don't know. I really do not know where this goes from here. And that's a major concern because coming into this year, you felt like a disappointing year would be like 7, 8 wins. I mean, you may not win 5. You may not win 5 fucking games. It's crazy how disappointing and how ugly this has gotten. 7 straight losses. The worst of the worst don't lose 7 games in a row that often. This is one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. That's the cold, hard truth. All right, we'll be live this afternoon, like I said, 4 o'clock Central Time here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys then.